Father's Day is coming up. My father's dead. So more money for me, I guess. With my father on the ground and my mother a born-again Christian, rendering her legally brain-dead in my books, I am an orphan in my late 30s, because I'm closer to 40 than I am to 30. Being an orphan in your 30s isn't as sad as when you're a kid. You can have all the poor daddy, wish I'd said this, or wish I'd done that. But everything that was supposed to happen, happened. Said another way, cry all you want about spilled milk, but you better clean it up, lest you start to stink. Around Father's Day, someone who doesn't know me very well, for example, every person I've ever worked with, or, somebody I work for, they'll ask me what I got my father for Father's Day. And I say to them, my father's dead. I don't say this socially more acceptable, he's no longer with us. Because being no longer with us implies that he's somewhere else, which he's not. He's dead. To which the co-worker or employer will say that they're so sorry. To which I'll reply with, so it was you. Dun dun dun. Their eyebrows shoot up, their faces go all pale. It's pretty funny, actually. After implying that my co-worker or employer killed my father, they often feel the need to comfort me. By comforting me, that means that they ask questions. They feel that if I talk about my father's death, it will be cathartic. It'll be a cathartic experience for me. Well, it isn't. But if morbid details they want, morbid details they'll get. Whenever asked about when he died, I always say it was a week before. And then I always place his death in whatever tragedy is still fresh in the news. If there was a tornado in the Midwest or a tsunami in the South Pacific. When in actuality, my father died when I was 24, 6 days before I got married, of massive organ failure caused by an embolism. He was in his early 50s, and he was miserable. My father and I were not close. He thought I was a pretentious jackass who would wind up another arty-farty, flaky failure. I thought he was a miserable workaholic who would die broke and exhausted, having given everything to an industry that couldn't have given less of a shit about loyalty and service if they wanted to. Daddy fixed machines for private industry. Turns out we were both right about each other. He died exhausted and broke, and I wound up another arty-farty, flaky failure. Sadly, my in-laws have even less appreciation for the arts than my late father. I never understood why we call dead people late. What are they late for? Oh, they're late. They're not late for anything. If anything, they're early. Early 50s are not that old. My in-laws dislike me, but fortunately they live in another province. When they visit, well, they're newfies, so I can't really understand what they're saying. Their adopted daughter, my wife, with perfect diction translates any of their qualms. And then I go out drinking, leaving behind them to do whatever it is newfies do when Ontarians aren't around, which from what I can gather is complain about Ontario. My wife's losing interest in me. She's replaced her interest in me with interest in jewelry, which makes sense, because jewelry appreciates over time. Husbands don't. Daddies don't. Guess I don't either.